Greetings, greetings. How are you today? It is a joy to be on a webinar. I think this is the first one that I have done this year, and I'm always quite excited to learn new technology and how to greet you and to share with you some of the leadership principles that I do around the country and with other churches and organizations. And so I look forward to coming to your church, to your organization, if at all possible. You can look at my personal website, Flippin, F-L-I-P-P-I-N, legacy.com, and look at what we have to offer. Now, as I'm learning how to do this, there is an outline that should be right above my picture, right above the screen there, that will give you the outline that we're going to talk about today, that you as a leader. Our text is John Maxwell's text, Developing the Leader Within You. That is a text that you should have in your library. It is a great, great text. It's one that I use quite a bit in my leadership training. Really, most of the books that Dr. Maxwell has done are really, really wonderful for church leaders and those that just want to personally improve their leadership skills. So we're going to begin talking about the fact that good news, leadership can be taught. Leadership can be taught. There are people that feel that everybody that is a leader is a born leader, one that does not need to enhance or hone their skills in being a better leader. And if you have your outline, there are ways to let you know that born leaders still have to emerge, and born leaders have to still be developed. So let me help those particularly that are born leaders and those that are not. The leading leader, the first thing is the leading leader. The leading leader is born with leadership qualities. The leading leader has seen leadership modeled in their life. They've been around people who were leaders and they watched and or were tutored or mentored by them. The leading leader has learned added leadership through training. Added leadership through training. And the leading leader has discipline to become a great leader. They have discipline. They're never ever satisfied with being the leader that they are, always attempting to be even a better leader. And then there is the learned leader. The learned leader. Those individuals, they have seen leadership model most of their life. Maybe they weren't born, or it didn't come natural to be a leader, but they have been around leaders and they have watched a leadership qualities and experience and development. They also learn leadership through training. They've gone to school, seminars, workshops. They've gone to training. They may have had a job that required for them to learn leadership. And then the learned leader has self-discipline to be a great leader. Self-discipline to be a good leader. Once again, it's probably your job or position you have or something that will push you to understand how to do human resources. It would push you how to understand people sociologically, as well as psychologically, economically, and dealing with people. Generally, someone like that has a job position that deals with people. And all three qualities are acquired. The third leader is the latent leader. L-A-T-E-N-T, the latent leader. That leader has just recently seen leadership modeled. And I've met people like that. Leadership was around them, but for some reason, they didn't notice it. Excuse me, or no one mentored them. And so they recently, all of a sudden, wanted to become a leader. The latent leader is learning to be a leader through training. They're learning. You're on this webinar. You're learning to be a leader. I appreciate that. The latent leader has self-discipline to become even a good leader. And all of these qualities are acquired. And the final leader is the limited leader. Now, most people off the bat will say, that's me. No, no, no. That person has little or no exposure as leaders. Little or no exposure. They have little or no exposure to leadership training. And they have a desire to become a leader, so they're limited, but they desire to become a leader. Sometimes they're thrust into leadership, and they have never ever had a model. They've never ever had workshops or understanding how to do conflict resolution or how to do a budget, things like that. But nonetheless, they're in a position, they're limited, but yet they're willing to learn. Well, I would like to ask you, please excuse me, this pollen in Georgia. I would like to ask you, what kind of leader are you? Are you a leading leader? Are you a learned leader? Are you a latent leader or a limited leader? Let me be personal. I'm a leading leader. I don't want to sound arrogant or anything to say that I was born leader, but being a leader became very natural to me. If there were boys playing in the backyard, I kind of was the leader. I was the one that was setting the agenda, what to play, where to go, and what to do. Also, in elementary school, I was on the safety patrol. I don't know if they still have that in school. Or I might have been the kid that the teacher left in charge when the teacher would go out of the room. In the 6th grade and 9th grade, I don't even know how this happened. I was a student that would go to the principal's office every morning and do the pledge to the flag, lead the students in that, give announcements, and what have you. And then in the 12th grade, 11th grade, actually, I was elected president of the student council by my high school peers. And so that was really when I discovered, oh, I'm a leader. In my church, I was a leader. I was a superintendent, youth superintendent of Sunday school. I taught Sunday school even as a young man, Vacation Bible School. In college, I worked with the Baptist Student Union. I became national president of the Baptist Student Union. And so it was there. But yet at the same token, I wanted to be a better leader. And so I began to read books. I developed that when I went to seminary. I watched people. I was around particularly strong men who displayed what a leader was, those who were fathers. And then I did my doctoral dissertation on leadership. And I didn't stop even with that. As you can see, I have books around me, constantly trying to learn. And I became a certified life coach with Dr. Samuel Chan. And that's when it dawned on me, I need to quit making an excuse that I am a leader. And that was really was a liberation to be able to admit that. On the other hand, I hope my wife has heard me do this lecture. My wife is a learned leader. She's basically a quiet, can be an introverted kind of a person, reflective, but her job, her life as a pastor's wife has forced her to develop some leadership principles, qualities, attributes that perhaps in any other profession or married to someone else, she might not have done it. It's not limiting her, but she may not have done it because she's just as comfortable with being in the background. And of course, she went on to get her master's degree in leadership and then became a coach, a leadership coach for public school system in mathematics. So that's the learned leader. So which are you? Are you the latent leader, kind of laid back, kind of learned, but then the limited leader? Some observations. There is a difference between, and I hope you have the handout, leaders and managers. There's a difference in leaders and managers. There's a lot of confusion between leadership and managing. Let me just share about 3 or 4 things about that. Leader managers are long-term thinkers who see beyond the day's crisis and the quality of the quarterly report. What this is saying is that a leader sees long-term. Leaders have interest in the company. The bottom line, leaders put heavy emphasis on vision, on values, and on motivation. Leaders have strong political skills to cope with conflicting requirements of multiple constituents. Leaders don't accept the status quo. Boy, have I gotten in trouble with that one, constantly pushing people. But managers are very, very comfortable with just maintaining the day-to-day operation, maintaining what's going on in a church, being set, just making sure that the company, the church operates, starts on time, collects the money, preaches, etc. But never ever long term, how do we reach the millenniums? How do we reach the children? How do we develop technology in the church? How do we come up with other systems in order to do finances? You can tell a manager who says, I don't want one of those iPhones. I want to keep my flip phone and or other technology. And true enough, even me, I will fight sometimes wanting to use technology, but certainly it has allowed me to do a lot more than what I ever imagined. And I keep young folk around me that push me to do just that. For instance, at our church, we just started text giving and also credit card giving. Now, boy, that, you know, people my age, they're not going to put that credit card on a church envelope. But do you not know young adults do that? We almost live in a cashless society. People do not carry money. Someone gave me this analogy. I'm talking to pastors particularly. People don't carry cash in their pocket, and you pass the tray, and they have $5 in their pocket. They're going to give you the $5. But if you have other options for giving, they may give you 10, 15, 20, texting and or online giving. So I hope you hear that, and that'll make you say, well, maybe we do need to try to do this. And just let us know. We'll be able to help you with that in your various churches. Leadership is influence. That's John Maxwell's definition for leadership. Leadership is influence. Anytime you are influencing anybody, you are a leader. Nelson Mandela influenced people. Martin Luther King influenced people. But also Adolf Hitler influenced people. There are bad influences as well. Think about in your life, those people who can influence a crowd or group, and they just go totally opposite of whatever the other people are thinking. And so these are people that do have influence, but it is not positive. It is not future focused. It is not thinking about the group, the whole group, that how it benefits. They want to deal with just me and what I want. But one of my favorite lectures that I do are the 5 levels of leadership. Once again, it is found in the John Maxwell text, Developing the Leader Within You. He has 5 wonderful, wonderful positions that I just love talking about. The first one, and I don't want to say the lowest one, but the first one is position. If you have the handout, on the page it says rights. These are people that you follow because you have to. These are people that you follow because you have to. They're always telling you about their rights. They're always telling you about how long they've been a part of something. They'll tell you how much money they put into it. They will always throw up. Well, I don't use the word throw up. They'll always use that as leverage for position. And we all have to deal with people like that. And they're people you follow because you have to. They're people that are new supervisors. You have to follow them. But at the same time, they come in trying to change things. They have no leadership capital. They don't have any. And so it's difficult to respect a person. But there are people who want to just stick with their position. You try to move an organization forward, they won't move. I always said this, that song, I shall not be moved. Just like a tree planted by the rivers of water, I won't be moved. They will not be moved. But you move them out of their position, oh, it's a major conflict. The next level of position that I love is permission. People follow because they want to. And the word you're going to write on your sheet there, relationships, relationships. When you build relationships, people give you permission to lead them. People will follow you beyond your stated authority. And it's because you built a relationship. You know how many children they have, you know their hobbies. You show a vested interest in them as a person. And they'll give you permission to say, we need you to work overtime, or we need you to go over and beyond the call of duty. They give you that permission. As a pastor, sometimes it is so easy to just love the folk who love you. But if you really want to be a leader, learn to love the folk that don't love you. And of course, that's biblical. And when you love them through a funeral, a wedding, a counseling, they begin to give you permission to be their leader. The third level of leadership is production. And on the line, I want you to write the word results. People follow because of what you have done for the organization. People follow you because of what you have done for the organization. Yes, you have increased revenue. Yes, you have built a new wing. Yes, you have achieved the goals of the organization and probably exceeded them. And you're considered successful. You're considered a leader that can get things done. You can get zoning. You can get architectural drawings. You can get bank financing. And most African American churches get to production. I would say most organizations, and never go beyond that. You can always hear the leader that is stuck at level 3. They'll talk about that they bought a van, they put carpet on the floor, they put a new roof on the church. I'm talking about church stuff now. Production. Actually, even a husband, a father who does production, the wife and the children will trust that person when they make decisions that they don't particularly understand. Now, it normally takes a good 20 years, a whole generation, for a leader to work through rights, relationships, and results, meaning position, permission, and production. It may take 20 years in a church structure. In a business structure, 7 to 10 years minimum, that people would begin to give you permission and know that you are productive and successful in what you're doing. The fourth level of leadership is people development, and that's why I'm on this webinar. I know that's where I am. A people developer, and the R word there is reproduction. People follow because of what you have done for them, not the organization, but what you have done for them. And so we have 3 sons, and all of them are ministers. And so I guess I had them to practice on to reproduce. I didn't ever want to say that I was reproducing myself. That sounded a bit arrogant in my opinion. But how can you teach a person except through what you have done? And many have been successful with getting churches, getting jobs, getting degrees. And they then trust you and will follow you because of what you have done for them. Reproduction. That's a great one. I love that. Reproduction. I always ask people, do you have 3 mentors in your life? Do you have 3? Now, when you get my age, some of my mentors have passed away. But do you have 2 or 3 mentors that you can go to, that you've given them permission to correct you, to chastise you, and even to instruct you? And then, are you mentoring 3 people? Think of 3 people you should be mentoring. You should be reproducing. Today, you should be preparing someone to take your place. You should be preparing someone to take your place. The final level of leadership is personhood. I almost said like I was in church. Take your name and say personhood. The R word there is respect. Respect, personhood, is when you get to that level that when you call that name, people know who you are. People follow because of who you are and what you represent. Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King Jr., Andrew Young, Barack Obama, Billy Graham, John Maxwell. Those are people that when you call their name, you know they've gone through the levels of position, permission, production, people development. And now they're at that point of personhood that many times they're in demand to be speakers, in demand to do workshops, because the people know that what they say has credence. Maya Angelou, those persons, Oprah Winfrey, they're at that level. And I trust and pray that I can live to get to that level. Generally, however, you get to that level when you're older and or dead. And so I'm not looking forward to either one of them tomorrow. But you know, you are a leader. Jesus told us that you are the salt of the earth. You are the light of the world. And as a result of that, there are things that we are to do as leaders, as people of God, and to do as God said to Adam in the garden, take authority. Take authority. And taking authority, you must do it as God does. Not ever ruling over a person, treating a person wrong, not doing to them as you want to be done to. But you can't do it because you are a leader. You're a developing leader. You are a learned leader. And guess what? I have the greatest confidence in you that today is the beginning of another great chapter in your life. Two most important days in your life, I was taught. The day you were born and the day you discovered why you were born. Let me hear from you. Let me know why you were born and how this webinar has helped you. God bless you. Have a great, great, great day. Look at our church. Look at my website, my personal website. Call my office, 770-655-0217. Have a great day, great day, great day. God bless you.